I'm Roxie with Roxie's Broadway Breakdown. Welcome back to my channel where I'm always about musical theater. And you are new to theater and you're starting to hear terms like spike marks or trailing or gobos and you feel completely lost. Don't fear. I am here to give you the definitions of certain terms and you won't feel lost anymore. Or if you're not new to theater and you want to quiz yourself and go, how many of these do I know? Stick around and watch this video. Okay, so let's get to some of these basic musical theater terms or theater terms that you should be familiar with. All right, so what's an aside? An aside is when an actor tells another actor like, hey, blah, 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 or he breaks the fourth wall and tells the audience like, hey, by the way. It's just a side comment. Okay, a bit. What is a bit? Well, a bit is just a little bit of business that you create for yourself on stage. Maybe it's not the main action, but it lets you look busy on stage. Or maybe it's like a comical bit you want to create, just something a little funny that maybe is the main part of the action. It's just a little bit of business. Blocking. Blocking is what's in the script, usually in italics, that is just directions to follow. And sometimes it's just like what the director sets for you to do, staging. That's not choreography. That's not the dance portion. Call time. Call time is when the stage manager sets a time for actors to show up for rehearsal or the actual production. Cheating out. Cheating out is when you are maybe facing an actor like too much and the director says, no, cheat out, like cheat out to the audience so we can see you better or we can hear you better. Costume parade. Costume parade is when the director wants to see everybody in their costumes for different scenes so that he or she can see what they like, what they don't like, what fits, what doesn't fit, just to make sure the show looks cohesive. You know, like I like that hat, I don't like those pants, I like those shoes, that dress looks better on her, and you know, just they can see everything in a costume parade. Cue to cue. Cue to cue is like a dry tech run. So the actors have already rehearsed their stuff, but the crew needs to rehearse their stuff so that they start learning the show. And so it'll start at the beginning of the show and the crew now needs to know the set changes, lights, that kind of thing, and they'll just know like entrances and exits and where to move the sets, how to get them on, how to get them off, and they'll literally just go like cue to cue through the whole show, and it's a dry tech run. Goes very slowly, trust me. Sometimes the actors have to be there for that so that they can see like where the actors are at the beginning of the scene, where they are at the end of the scene, where they enter, where they exit. It's a slow process. Okay, composer. That's who writes the music to the show. A lyricist is who writes the words to the music. And a librettist is the person that writes the script, the book to the show. Dialect, that's just accents. When you're called upon to do an accent from a different area. And dialogue is between two actors. Those are, you know, okay. That's just words between different actors as opposed to a monologue, which is like one long speech that an actor has. A gel. A gel is like a plastic film, colored plastic film over a light that gives it different colors, and a gobo is like a metal sheet with designs cut out on it to give a design on the stage. So you could use them in conjunction, like if you want to create florals or leaves or something like a forest on stage, you could put like maybe yellows and greens together with a leaf pattern, and now you've got like a forest leafy looking design on stage and it looks like you're in the forest, something like that. All right, okay. Basic just stage direction of downstage, down going towards the audience, upstage is away from the audience. Stage left is always your left, stage right is always your right, as opposed to the house. The house is where the audience sits. That's the actual theater. And, well, that's where the audience sits. And then house right is the audience's right, and house left is their left. So sometimes, though, you can enter from the house. Like sometimes there's action that the actors do in the house. There are shows like that. So if the director tells you, okay, you're going to enter from house left, okay, like down the aisle. So you're entering from house left, okay, and then you're going to go up to stage right. Well, you're entering from house left, and you're going to go up to stage right now. It's kind of the same side of the theater. Just have to always keep where you are in your head. All right, on stage is obviously all the action that takes place on stage, and then off stage or backstage is everything that's going on, like behind the scenes, so to speak, like fast changes and gossip and whatnot. Well, yeah. All right. In the wings is the place that's exactly to the side of the stage. There's curtains, and that's where your entrances and exits happen. That's where sometimes big sets are stored and getting ready to move on and off for different parts of the show. So wings is directly to the side as opposed to everything backstage and off stage. Off book. When a director tells you to be off book, that means you have to have all your lines memorized by then. Places, please. That means like that's kind of your 5-minute call to take your place for either act 1 or act 2. Trailing, I have a video on nothing but like alternates, understudies, swings, standbys, because there is a difference between all of those. But trailing is when an understudy or swing or an alternate is following the person that they're understudying. And like, let's say it's Pony Boy in The Outsiders, and they may do different characters. Like they sometimes an alternate or a swing can or an understudy can have up to 6, 7, 8, 9 characters, and they follow their track. That's another word, track. So let's say the understudy for Pony Boy is shadowing him, basically trailing him, and they not only have to know their lines and choreography and blocking, all of that, but they have to also know like where he exits, when he has entrances, what props he picks up, what his fast changes are, so he knows the entire show, his track of the show. What's a put-in? A put-in is where the understudies and swings and alternates have their turn to have like a show. Like they are actually put into the show with full lights, costumes, sets, orchestra, so they feel like, okay, we've had our turn to do a show before we're just like kind of put in cold. That's their put in. Running lights are lights behind stage, so you can, you know, like on the floor, and you can see like where you're going. They're lower lights. They're not bright, so the audience obviously can't see them. Spike marks. Spike marks are where, if you see tape on the floor, those are tape marks, so actors know where to go, or crew knows where certain set pieces should go, scenery, tables, props, that kind of thing. Stage manager. Stage manager runs the game, okay? He or she sets rehearsal times, makes sure the actors are signed in when they get to the theater, calls the show, calls all the cue to cues, makes sure everything is going smoothly. So stage manager runs the game. Can bring you to tears. I've had a stage manager bring me to tears. I was whispering once in the wings during a pivotal moment, and he came over to me and was like, "You're replaceable." Guess who never talked in the wings again, or even whispered? This girl. Okay, slapstick. Slapstick comedy is like physical comedy. You know, it's not just your funny lines, the way you say stuff, but actual like physical lines, like tripping over stuff, or, you know, just that kind of thing. Strike. What does it mean to strike a set? That's when the show is done and it's all dismantled and taken away, and you know, the set is done. It's always kind of sad when crew says, oh, we got to strike the set after because, you know, the last show is done and that's it. In the house for notes. In the house for notes means once tech really gets going and you start to do the show fluidly, like with dress rehearsals, and you just, there's no stopping and starting anymore. So the director or choreographer sits in the house and just starts to take notes. And then after the run through is done, they say, all right, in the house for notes, they start to tell people like, hey, in Act 1, Scene 2, you know, you dropped that line, or in Act 2, Scene 7, you know, you were late on an entrance, or whatever the things that they need to fix. Or the choreographer will say, hey guys, you know, we need to run that number again. I noticed a few messy things. Just whatever it is, they start addressing individual notes and things about the show they need to kind of clean up, make tighter. And then break a leg. Break a leg means good luck, but you never say good luck to an actor because that's bad luck. So you say break a leg. All right, there you go. I hope you found that helpful. Don't forget to click and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next.